If you want to progress, be a success in life, in your business, your job or whatever, often you hit these walls or these plateaus and you wonder why it is. And it's because of something that's holding you back from when you're a tiny kid, and even though you don't realize it. Mm. So what the raps do, our rhythmic activating prose do, is they give you this moment of a new perspective of your past.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Convo Couch. Today we've got Gwenda and Gwenda Phillips from Your Hidden Mind. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us, Sonia. Hi everyone, Gwenda from Your Hidden Mind, and this is my father.
Brian, hi. Nice to meet you.
So you're talking about, you do aqua fitness, aqua training?
Yes, so Christine, my wife, Gwenda's mother, has been into fitness basically all her life, and so when aerobics started, she went straight in and designed her own completely, because Christine's like that. She never follows, she leads. And so she came up with her own set of aerobics, and then decided that there'd be a better way if you did it in the pool, because water's a lot heavier than air, and you can get a lot more benefit because it supports your body at the same time. So it's very good for you. So when we were in Singapore, she started taking aerobics in the pool and developed aqua aerobics of her own design again, and mainly what she calls weightlifting underwater, using the water as a weight and a resistance tool. And so I have always joined her anyway, because we've always kept fit, whether we played tennis or squash or whatever sport we played, and got involved with her like that and followed through, and we did it all the time we were in Singapore. And then when we came back or went back to New Zealand and we built our own house, we put in a special pool just for that, and she took classes and I joined in and kept going. So that was our main sort of fitness.
And then the circus.
Yes, so then I've always been interested in sort of circus particularly, and all that sort of stuff, balance and gymnastics and that. And we saw this class for adults, and we know Gwenda was also really keen. So we signed up, Gwenda and I signed up, and off we went and learned all about
aerial silks and trapeze. And
so you both went together?
Yeah, we used to go together.
All right. And when did you start? You said 10 years ago for yourself?
I think
it was over 10 years now. It's over 10. It's over 10 years ago now we started.
Yeah.
And we did it for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And that till Gwenda actually moved to Australia. That's what's.
I did it in Melbourne as well for a while. Just for fun. It's the best fitness you can imagine.
And it was great.
Yeah. You don't want to fall, so you hold on for dear life. So
yeah. All right. Okay.
It's really good.
So how long did it take for you to actually become, I guess, sort of good, and you'll be okay, floating around in the air
and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, every season we had to put on a show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our group, so it was fabulous, because we had a really lovely group of young people amongst us, and we had some great instructors. And some people tend to specialize on one apparatus more than though you had to all do all of them. I was a bit of a generalist and didn't specialise on anything.
Because often you don't have enough men in these sort of things. So it was great having Dad, because he could obviously be the balance for the weight for so many of the different activities. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you had some interesting times. If you put your leg in the wrong place, you could fall.
Yeah.
And that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had any really bad
One
injuries?
near, no.
I had one near,
very bad, but we managed to catch it. Oh. So you got your silks hanging down on either side of you, and you're tumbling through them. For some reason, Dad brought his hands in rather than out, and because you should put them out so it stops you, because you then fall and they stop you like this. For some reason, he brought his hands in. Did another couple, but then managed to.
I was high enough to
stop it
before I hit the ground.
Okay, so were the people watching
very worried?
Why are your hands in? Why are they not out?
Yeah.
Yes,
fun.
No, it was good fun.
I think the best thing about circus with so many of the arts is the people are just so welcoming and so accepting, and it doesn't matter who you are, what age you are, anything.
Yeah.
Just the most wonderful people.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
You guys have the most interesting family activities.
we do, don't we?
Yeah. Circus, aqua aerobics, or
Yeah.
aqua fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of travelling together.
Yeah.
I like to travel a lot, and so I lived in Latin America for a while and went back for my 30th, and I thought, why don't you come with me? So I took Dad backpacking around Latin America, Central America for a
Yeah.
while.
Well, yes. Yeah, that was great fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
Did a bit of Africa this year.
Yeah,
Europe this
Africa
year.
again. Yeah, South Africa. Yeah.
Christine, my mum, Dad's wife, together with Dad, developed like nearly 20 years ago, 18 or so years ago, to help people get new perspective on the fears and the rubbish and the stress that is still inside you, whether you accept it or not. It's all in there, and that's what's driving you. And when you use this poetry, this prose, to see your life differently, it's just amazing how much it opens you up to being open to anything and everything. When you don't have such a filter in front of you, such fears in front of you, then you can just feel comfortable just trying things and being out there and just having fun. And I think our family dynamics have changed dramatically, more so in the last probably 10 years as we've done more and more and more of it, because you're not as judgmental if you don't have those fears and walking in front of you. And I think I feel extremely lucky to have such a close relationship with my parents. And I think it's definitely because of this.
It helps you. We've always travelled.
We've always travelled.
Yes, I grew up travelling, and that's because I was involved in flying. So travel was my life. But it's your relationship and connection with people.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can travel, but you're still different.
Yeah, or argue.
And all those sort of things. And especially if you travel together in groups, whereas we find with having done and built our system, doesn't bother us now. Doesn't matter where we are, who the people are, what status in life they have, or where they come from. Doesn't matter. Because we're all the same. In the end, we're all the same. Just different levels.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And it's how you actually manage it. And the important thing about it is to reduce the intensity it has impacting on you.
To reduce the intensity of your fears.
Your fears and your senses and feelings. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the thinking behind your hidden mind.
That's 100% it. You will always have stress. You will always have fears. You will always have disagreements, arguments, whatever with human beings, because we're all different. We're all the same, but we're all different life experiences. What matters is the intensity of your reactions.
Yes.
It's the intensities if you're too high for too long, that's exhausting. And if you're too low for too long, that's very dangerous, isn't it? Right? And same with arguments. If you can have a little argument, but it doesn't really affect you, you don't go away and dwell on it forever, then it's okay, you just move on. But when so many people, the older they get, the harder it gets, the intensity of their reactions really starts to weigh on their health, on their happiness, on their relationships. That's when it's damaging to you. And that's the whole thing with your hidden mind. It's just helping you see how you learnt to see the world in a softer way. Take away the intensity of those old fears, the intensity of your triggers, and that's when life is easier.
Yeah. I mean, when we're young, we're bulletproof. That's what we think, up to 45, even 50. So I don't need this. I'm healthy. But in fact, you're not. You don't see what's going on internally. Okay, your stress, your up and downs, the swings that you have. So, and the point being is that when you're a kid, your knowledge and experience is limited, because you're learning all the time, particularly in the first 5 to 7 years. So every experience you have during that time is huge because it's the first time you have it. So it's 100%. And that sets the basis for your future. Okay. From then on, every time you have a similar or related experience, your mind refers back to the first time at the same level of intensity, even though you don't recognize it. So as you go on in life, it can help or hinder you, okay? And it often hinders you because it holds you back, because it is actually a fear. Fear there is a form of protection. That's why we have fears. We have to protect ourselves. But when that form of protection gets to the stage where it holds you back or it makes you ill, then it's not good for you. Okay, and that's what you have to reduce or minimize. And if you want to progress, be a success in life, in your business, your job, or whatever, often you hit these walls or these plateaus and you wonder why it is. And it's because of something that's holding you back from when you're a tiny kid, and even though you don't realize it. So what the raps do, our rhythmic activating prose do, is they give you this moment of a new perspective of your past. Okay, they allow you to see it in a whole new aha manner, approach it from a different direction, they trigger a moment or an image or a memory that you haven't even registered you've got. They bring it up and you look at it and suddenly you see it in a totally different light. It's like the stand-up comedian. You listen to this person coming along, oh, I know where this joke's going, and suddenly they come up with a totally different ending. And you, oh, where did that come? Oh, yeah. And you see it differently. That's what the raps do to your history of memories. And that allows you to move forward now at a softer level, because now you're looking at what was something that may have been holding you back or making you stressed or angry or whatever. You're now suddenly seeing it in a whole different light. And therefore you're not building up all the chemicals or the hormonal rushes, all those things which actually effectively damage you.
So would you say your arguments are more mellow now, or you don't feel as strongly when you argue?
Clever, you're right. It's both. And it's not about trying to control yourself in the moment. It's not about trying to just breathe through it or trying to be calm. You're not triggered to the same extent you were. So therefore the argument is less. It is more mellow.
Yes.
It always goes back further in the chain. And this is something we are really passionate about, is helping people realize that the reason you're reacting the way you are today isn't just because of this moment. It's because of how you are interpreting this moment. And that's because of how you've had previous experiences with bad outcomes or consequences that have shaped how you're seeing the moment. If you go back and get a new perspective on those original moments, you don't bring such fear to the current situation, and so therefore you don't react the same way. There's actually some great neuroscience around that as well. It's very different to maybe reading the poetry and then analysing your thoughts. We never do that, right? Yeah. Because that's bringing your conscious knowledge to it, which is very protective and defensive. You always just let the mind relax and just get the light bulb moments. And that's because when you do that, it actually gets the brain to connect different parts of the brain together to try and find an answer. If you just analyse yourself, you just use the same part of the brain and you just go around and around and around.
You're just trying to manipulate the same bit of information and try and change it to read something else.
To make you feel good, right?
2 and 2 is 4. It doesn't matter how many times you manipulate it. You move the 2s around, they're still 4.
You need something else to give you a different perspective, and that's what comedy is. So they actually say, some of this research says that poetry and comedy are some of the most effective ways to train the brain. Compared to doing brain training or mindfulness.